It's always interesting to learn about people who have made significant impact in their field and are widely recognized for their contribution. It was back in the late 80s when a team from an accounting firm in Pune came up with an idea of offering IT services. They were entering uncharted territory. Today's story is particularly about a man from a modest Marathi family in Pune who chose an unconventional path. His journey is a remarkable tale of resilience and vision. His contributions to technology, particularly in the automotive and mobility sectors, have been transformative. Today, KPIT Technologies is a global leader in automotive and mobility software solutions. It's amazing how a single idea can transform industries and create lasting impacts. His work and his vision has indeed set new standards and paved the way for future advancements, making him a true game changer.
Please join me, Praveen Dighe, in welcoming this eminent personality, a global leader and a visionary, Mr. Ravi Pandit, co-founder and chairman of KPIT Technology. Welcome to the great, Game Changer series. Really honored and a privilege to have you on the show.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And, So I was just talking to your team outside, and a lot of people were referring to you as SVP. While outside you're known as Ravi Pandit. So what is the story? Can you share?
I don't know whether it is to be called a parental vision or a parental discord, but my legal name is Shashi Shekhar.
Okay.
And so it is Shashi Shekhar Balakrishna Pandit. My mother tells me that Shashi stands for the moon, and Ravi stands for the sun. So you should have the brilliance of a sun, but you should have the softness of a moon. So the light of both of them are very important. That's what she tells me. I don't know. My colleagues will tell whether I fit more into the sun category or the moon category. But it has to be one of the two.
That's a great thought. That's a great thought. So can you let us begin with your early days of your life?
Yeah.
Can you share your childhood? How was your childhood? Which school did you go?
So my father came from a very poor family.
Okay.
From a place near Islampur.
Okay.
And he was completely self-educated, and he became a chartered accountant at the age of 40.
Okay.
And I was born before he became a chartered accountant.
Okay.
And we were living in this a small house of 2 rooms in Sadashipet.
Oh, okay.
And so I was born in 50. My father finished his CA in 56, and he started the firm. And I went to all Marathi medium schools, and that was a great
school? Which school?
So I finally did my SSC from Modern High School.
Okay.
On Jangli Maharaj Road.
Jangli Maharaj, yeah.
And at that time, it was really the best school in Pune. And if you would remember, at that point in time, 11th year was the last year.
Yes.
And typically 150,000 students would appear for the exam, and there used to be a list of 30 people, top 30 people.
Top 30 people.
Yeah, top 30 people. And so when I finished mine, 4 of us were in the top 30 list.
Oh,
the
okay.
school was absolutely top notch. And so our house was, we were and we are middle class. And which means that you are continuously pushed to higher and higher achievement. Yeah. And the normal thing in our house was that if I came back with my results and I said I got 99 out of 100 in, say, mathematics, my mother would ask, where did you lose the 1 mark? If I came back and said I got 100 out of 100, the question would be, how many in your class got 100? So, did you really achieve anything or not? So that is the typical push that you see in middle class family, especially Marathi families.
Yeah.
And that is what the childhood was. It was a very enjoyable childhood.
Absolutely.
But always very driven.
Right.
And so I did my schooling at Modern High School. I went to college at BMCC. And that was the first time I shifted from Marathi medium to English medium, and started reading first Reader's Digest
Oh, yeah.
to get used to at least some small English, etc. And see, when you do commerce, it is almost like disguised unemployment, because there is so much of free time, which is very highly used by all, in different ways.
Right.
So I could read a lot, and we had very good professors. So actually, that's when I started reading serious stuff like Bertrand Russell, Mark Twain, A.J. Cronin. That is where, So the childhood was like that.
Right. So what were you passionate about during that time? I mean,
So I was passionate about many things. I was passionate about physical fitness. I used to play cricket for my college. I used to play judo for my college. I did middle distance running. I was also passionate about economics. So I would read a lot on that, write, speak on that. And I have always been very passionate about nature. And even since school. So like in our school, we had a teacher called Zavdekar sir. He actually taught us to love nature. He would take us on trips outside the school to watch birds, to watch animals, to watch different plants.
right.
And that was a major influence on me till today.
Till today.
Yeah.
Okay, you still love that as a passion.
Yes. And when you read a lot, you see, now people talk about environmental economics. See, because if you look at only economics, then you take certain things as free. Good air you take as free. Whereas if you spoil that air, good air is not free. So you should actually be putting a cost for spoiling the air, for spoiling the water. And so environmental economics talks about that.
Right.
And there have been writings about it. For example, when I was in college, there was this very famous book called Small is Beautiful. And how do you make something which is more sustainable in every sense? I became a student of Gandhiji when I was in my college. And Gandhiji's writings are extraordinary. They're extremely impactful, but they are very simple, and they talk about a very holistic life.
Right.
And so Gandhiji was a great idol for me. And because of my commerce education, I had a lot of free time to do everything else.
Right.
If I had become an engineer, I think I wouldn't have time to do any of these things.
So I understand you're a gold medalist in CA. You've also done, you passed out from MIT Solon. So how did, being from a finance and accounting background, how did KPIT happen? I mean, it's a totally different domain. IT is something which did not exist in 90s era.
Yeah. So I came back from the US. I finished my CA in 73.
Okay.
And at that time, the great doyen of industry in Pune, was Shantanurao Kirloskar.
Yes.
And so Shantanurao Kirloskar had gone to MIT.
Right.
And he was the person I respected the most. Extremely upright, very bright, really grew the Kirloskar group. Very good in engineering talent.
Correct.
And very socially conscious. And so I really definitely wanted to emulate him. So after I did my CA here, I was keen to do my further education in the US. MIT was a good choice because he went to MIT. Moreover, how much I spent was a serious concern for us because,
True.
How to do the education in the least amount of cost was very important. And MIT had at that time a 1-year Master of Science in Management. You got an equivalent of MBA, but instead of 2 years, it was continuous 12 months.
12 months, yeah.
So that was the shortest period of time in which you can do it. And my father by that time was already in his 60s. and he couldn't run our accounting company by himself. So he told me, Ravi, you can go abroad, but you must come back in 2 years.
Okay.
And so I did a 1-year course, and I worked in the US for 1 year because we had to borrow money to do my education. And as luck would have it, a bank in India had promised to give me loans. See, the expenditure at that time on education was 1 lakh of rupees for a 1-year course. And my father's income was 20,000 rupees per annum.
Okay.
And so it was beyond us. He could
A lot of gap.
So out of his savings, he could put in about 25,000, and I had to borrow money for the rest. And one of the Indian banks had promised to give me a loan of 45,000 rupees. And when I reached the USA, the bank came back saying that our policies have changed and we can't give you loan.
Oh.
And it was like horrible. I mean, it was like you're put on the street. And I went to MIT and I told them this is what has happened. And that was really my an amazing experience of American society and our institute, is that across the table, they sanctioned me $4,500, which was like 4.5 lakh rupees.
Yeah.
And I was kind of completely surprised. And I asked them, you're not asking me too many questions, you are just agreeing to pay this money. So they said, if you are a student at MIT, you are a part of our family, and all your problems are our problems. And so they gave me the loan, and I was very keen that before I come back, I pay the loan off.
Yeah.
So I worked for a year, and then I came back. But at MIT, although I did my MIT in finance, controls, operations research, so it was not hardcore engineering, it was these. But MIT teaches you to think in a particular way.
Correct.
So the way of looking at things is very scientific, very analytical. That is a great, I would say that I don't recollect exactly everything that I learned in the various courses, but what I learned were really 2-3 things. First learning is that you can do anything that anybody else can do. See, because at MIT, when you walk around, you see Nobel laureates around, and you see them as human beings. And then the thought in your mind is that if they can achieve these heights, why can't
you? Yeah.
And so that is one thing that you learn from MIT. Analytical thinking is what you learn from MIT. Working extremely hard. As it is, when I did my CA, I used to work and do my CA, and I was a hard worker. But MIT takes it to a very different level. You really learn to stretch yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there is a library in the US which is 24/7. It's open every hour of the day for every day of the year. And I remember going to the school in the morning at 9 o'clock, finish the school curriculum by 4 o'clock, come back home, have something to eat, go back to the library, work throughout the night, come back in the morning, have a shower and go back to school. So those are the kind of stretches that it gives you. And so MIT taught me that.
Yeah.
And then MIT also taught me this love of computers.
Oh.
Then after I came back, see, at that time, I came back in 76.
Okay.
At that time, computers were very expensive. But we started doing consulting. And as consultants, from an accounting background, you would do analysis of information, you will generate reports on information. And we started doing a lot of consulting work. Towards the end of 80s, computers started becoming less expensive.
Right.
So minis came in, and then PCs came in.
Right.
And that's when we got into computerization.
Okay.
And the rest is history. This is where we are now.
Yeah, great, interesting.
Because Ravi is one of the few people who understood the power of focus in some ways. The auto and the IT industry and the confluence of the two, which is really to bring together what was always a sunrise industry, which was our IT industry, and really to combine that with the knowledge that the auto industry, software, integration, working with global OEMs was going to be the future. Ravi was one of the few people who understood this very well, and this has been the reason for KPIT's success, that they have thousands of engineers who are, while they are very knowledgeable, they are also very deep in their field, And I think KPIT has emerged as one of the few companies from India which is working with almost all global OEMs.
In line with the domain that you are into, the current auto industry is going through a extreme refresh, right? From
Yes.
self-driven vehicles to
Yes.
automation to a lot
Yes.
of things in the auto industry.
Yes. Yes.
How do you think KPIT pans out in this domain, and
Yeah.
what are we doing in that area?
Yeah. No, very interesting. Actually, last time the automotive industry changed so much was when Henry Ford came up with Model T. That was 100 years ago, 1980, 1920, etc. Before Henry Ford came onto the scene, automotive was a luxury item where only a few people could afford it. So if you were a rich American and you wanted to buy a car, you would travel by a boat to France. France was the leader.
Yeah.
You would travel by a boat to France. You will book your automotive and you will tell what size of engine you wanted, what kind of shape you wanted, what interiors you wanted, what kind of lights you wanted, and the car would be made for you. You went back after about a year and a half and picked up your car to bring it back. From that to a situation where every worker in a factory can afford a car, that tremendous change was made by Henry Ford. A similar change is happening in the automotive industry now.
All right.
So we are moving from diesel, petrol to electrification because we see almost 16 to 18% of all the pollution in the world is coming from mobility industry. So we see that big change. Then we see that people are wanting to be able to relax while their car is moving. So that's where there are autonomous vehicles. People want to be gainfully engaged when they are sitting in the car. That's why you have connected vehicles.
Connected vehicles, yeah.
People want to have different types of cars which fit different needs. Some of the people don't want to own the cars, they want to use the cars because our cities are becoming such a crowded place and very polluted place. So all these things are making tremendous changes in the automotives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is the area in which we work.
Okay.
Now, almost all the changes that are happening in automotives are driven by electronics. So there is electronics in a new car, which is say a battery electric or a fuel cell electric or even a hybrid. So there is electronics in the powertrain. There is electronics in the vision systems, which are necessary for autonomous vehicles. There is electronics in the connected vehicles. What kind of data you give, what kind of data you receive. How do you ensure that your car's control don't go to somebody else's hand?
Correct.
So what is the security? Then how do you ensure that the vehicle is up most of the time? So how do you do a diagnostics of that? All these things are completely driven by electronics. And our company is in the midst of that.
Oh, okay.
So that's one big area of our work in the automotive industry. We work.
Right.
Our company works with almost every major automaker across the world. So if you look at Germany's three biggest automakers like Daimler and BMW and Volkswagen, etc. If you look at the three biggest in the US, General Motors and Stellantis and Ford. If you look at the three ones in Japan, or if you look at the sole Indian UK one in England, the JLR, Land Rover, etc. We work with every one of these companies. And we work with every one of these companies changing the electronics in their car. So making their software bigger, making their hardware better, making sure that the data that gets transferred inside the vehicle is done in a proper way, etc. Our company works in that area.
Okay.
Now, the basic thing that has happened in the world of automotive is that till about 10 years ago, you had a car which had inside it many ECUs or many computers. There is an ECU there are multiple ECUs in the powertrain, multiple ECUs in infotainment system. So you had a situation where there was a car which had multiple ECUs in it. Now we have a computer with a car around it. Such a major change has happened in the in electronics in a car. Almost 40% of the cost of a car is now electronics.
Absolutely.
So that is our core area of work.
Okay.
We also work in the area of cleaner powertrains. And so how can you make electric cars which are as affordable as petrol cars or diesel cars? That's a core area of our work. So you can divide all the vehicles on the road into two broad types. There are light vehicles which run mostly in short distances, like our scooters or our cars which are used in the cities. This is one category. And the other category is heavy duty vehicles or long distance vehicles. So buses in a city or buses outside the city, trucks outside the city, etc. And to us the challenge is how do you electrify both of them? And we have worked on solutions in each of these buckets. So if you were to look at the first category, which is short distance light duty vehicles, they're all going to be battery electric.
Right.
They will be driven by batteries. Now, if you look at all the electric vehicles currently, they are driven by lithium ion batteries. Now, one thing that bothered us all along is that this lithium is available only in 5 or 6 countries in the world. India has found some lithium, but it will be 10 years before it will be actually, you will see it in the vehicles. So lithium is found in very few countries in the world. Lithium processing, 90% is done in China.
Okay.
So they have a complete lock on it. And we decided 7 or 8 years ago, saying that we must come up with different kind of battery. And we started working on sodium ion batteries.
Okay.
Now we started working at a time people thought that this was a ridiculous idea. But if you were to look at a periodic table, next to lithium is sodium. Now sodium is, as we know, available everywhere.
Right.
And so we started researching on sodium. We worked with Dr. Ogle, from ICER.
Okay.
So Dr. Satish Ogle is one of the best scientists that this country has.
Okay.
So we started working with him, and we put together an excellent team of many PhDs, etc., inside the company. And we started working on sodium ion batteries. Now, luckily, what has happened in the last 2 years, many things have happened. So China has announced world's largest two-wheeler maker moving into sodium ion battery.
Sodium ion battery.
BYD and 2 other major Chinese auto companies have announced their cars running on sodium ion batteries.
Yeah.
Then globally there are now vehicles like buses running on sodium ion battery. And I would think that we are amongst the leaders in sodium ion batteries across the world.
Across the world.
So we worked on the research and development relating to it. And we have just recently licensed the technology to an Indian company, an Indian multinational company, to productionize it.
Okay.
So within a year, those batteries will be in the road, on the road. Great. And we believe that India will not have to import them. We can be self-sufficient in this area. We don't have to wait for technology coming from outside. 2 large Indian companies recently, 6 months ago, entered into collaboration with Chinese companies for importing lithium-ion technology.
Okay.
3 weeks ago, the Chinese government declared that no technology will be exported from China. And we were just, these companies were stranded. So we believe that when our technology comes up, it will be more affordable. It will be, our belief is that even a 3-wheeler in a city should be able to afford it.
Yeah.
That is the tipping point that we want to cover.
Correct.
And we have been working in that area.
Right.
And for large, mid-size or heavy duty or long distance vehicles, we have been working on hydrogen. And we believe hydrogen is the least cost solution for long distance travel. If you put hydrogen in a vehicle, you can run it for 500, 600 kilometers at a stretch, which is a perfect substitute for, say, diesel. So we have been working in all aspects of that hydrogen value chain.
Okay.
We are the first company in India to come up with a fuel cell. A fuel cell converts this hydrogen to electricity on which a vehicle runs. So I believe that our fuel cell matches the best in the world.
Right.
It is far less costly, and the technology is developed completely in India, working with Dr. Ashish Lele of NCL. He is again one of the best scientists of this country. Both these scientists are Bhatnagar Award winners, exceptional people. And so we have a team of some 50 people working on fuel cells. And so India launched its fuel cell ship last year at the hands of our Prime Minister.
Right.
The complete powertrain and the fuel cell came from KPIT.
Right.
And now we are looking at multiple other implementations of this.
Okay.
We have a fuel cell bus which was launched by us. Now we are seeing a rollout of that.
Right.
And so we have worked on the fuel cell itself. We have worked on technologies which generate hydrogen from biomass. And we have worked on technologies which will give us the highest biomass with the least amount of water in the shortest period of time. So per acre, the yield has to be very high. And for this, we have worked with the government lab in Coimbatore, which is a lab called Sugarcane Breeding Institute. Again, exceptionally great scientist. 65% of the sugarcane that is made in the country is from the breeds developed by them. And they did extraordinary survey across the country to come up with energy cane. So it's like a cane, but doesn't have any sugar in it. So it consumes much less water and gives much higher biomass.
Okay.
So now we are working on a few projects where farmers come together, grow this, they sell it to an Indian company which converts that into hydrogen, and on which our buses and trucks can run.
And those are the manufacturers of biomass.
So the manufacturers of the biomass will be farmers. And their FPOs, their farmer producer organizations. I believe that degraded land which is currently available in the country can be used for this. No, India has some 97 million hectares of degraded land. So that can be converted into farms for this. It needs maybe 250 mm of water, rains in a year. 90% of India has got those kind of rains.
Right.
5 or 6 states in the country like Gujarat, Maharashtra, MP, Karnataka, Jharkhand have huge tracts of this land.
Okay.
And now we have started working with government, we have started working with private trust who own such land. We'll start working with sugar factories. If you look at Maharashtra had 200 sugar factories, out of which 100 sugar factories are closed down.
Yeah.
So all of them, with their limited amount of water, can switch to becoming energy generators. And so we will save a lot on imports.
Right.
Because, crude constitutes something like 40% of our imports.
Right.
So we don't have to do that. Our farmers' income can definitely double, as the Prime Minister has said. And our vehicles will be much cleaner than ever before.
Yeah.
So that is what we are doing. So we are working on electronics, we are working on batteries, and we are working on fuel cells.
Great.
We believe that Indians deserve better vehicles.
Yeah.
And India deserves a better solution.
Absolutely.
And we have been working in that area.
Now, as customers, how do you balance the technological advancements with customer expectations? Considering the technological
So
advancements.
this is very important. Actually, this is a very important question. Every Indian customer is price sensitive. Excepting for a very thin, rich class, everybody else is price sensitive.
Right.
So we have to come up with a solution which is affordable to people.
Right.
Our sodium-ion battery-based vehicles, we don't go to make vehicles, but the core chemistry will come from us. Our sodium-ion batteries, our hydrogen solution will be less costly than a diesel or a petrol-run vehicle.
Right.
So that is what we are really targeting for. And we want to continue to be a technology company. So we are partnering with companies who will do the manufacturing.
Right.
We are partnering with a company in Baroda to do the fuel generation. We are partnering with Thermax to do again fuel generation. We are partnering with Indian OEMs to make buses which will use our technology. So manufacturing will be done by our partners. We will continue to focus on technology.
So Ravi has been a mentor for many, many things that we've done on the professional front. When we started ECA and the whole concept of electric mobility, Ravi was one of our most initial mentors, supporters, guides. He's always kind of been the go-to person to go to whenever I think of any new idea, and he's again has the visionary knowledge. He goes into detail, and he's always the one who gives you very sage advice.
And we will make solutions which are affordable.
Right.
And we are getting extremely good support from the government.
Yeah.
And the government is also very keen because, it's also a whole question of energy security. It shouldn't so happen that you are stranded for energy and, some foreign supplier turns off the tap.
Right. Right.
So the government is very, very supportive of this, and we want to continue to work with the government.
Absolutely. So what does it mean for jobs and the economy as a whole?
It can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So if you were to look at our whole hydrogen thing, the government of India wants to have 5 million metric tons of hydrogen to be done from India by 2030. If we were to do that, then we are probably looking at maybe 4,000 to 5,000 clusters, which would mean probably 40 lakh farmers whose incomes can change, at least 5 lakhs people who will work as agri-technologists in this area. So I think it will make a big impact on our national income.
Right. Great. So can you tell us a little bit about generative AI and how automotive companies are leveraging generative AI? What challenges do you foresee?
So it's very interesting again. So let me, I think there is a lot of confusion about this.
Yeah.
So let me spend a minute on that.
Yeah.
So artificial intelligence can be actually better defined as non-biological intelligence. Okay, intelligence which does not come from human beings or other biological beings. That intelligence has to come from the machine. Now, how do you teach a machine to learn? Okay, that is what AI is all about, and that has happened because of the efforts that have been done to teach the machines to think. Till now, computers did a lot of work in the specific way in which you told the computer to work. So that is what programming is all about. Now, instead of programming every step, if you give a computer a way to think on its own, that is where you are using AI. And you are using generative AI when you get a computer to think to the level of a human being. Now, generative AI is still maybe 5 to 10 years away from us. Today, what we have is AI.
Right.
Now, AI has some significant advantages. To illustrate, supposing you are looking at an autonomous car and you want the car to know whether the figure on a road is a human being or a tree. Okay. There is one way, which is you define a tree. So you say if it is anything between this distance, this height to this height, with this girth, etc. If it is not moving at all, then you can call it a tree. But the computer will not know whether it's a tree or a house because it satisfies the same condition. So teaching a computer through an instruction set is a problem. What AI does is it will give the computer 10,000 pictures of trees, big trees, small trees, white trees, and the computer is taught to learn from that.
Right.
So it will give a computer 10,000 pictures of human beings or cats or dogs, and the computer will learn it by itself. That is actually pattern recognition or image recognition that the computer has learned because we fed it so much of information.
Right.
This way of AI is currently available. We use it in our company, and we use it extensively for autonomous driving. We use it extensively for fault detection. So, for example, a car company has, say, 1 million vehicles on the road, and it has some 5,000 different types of problems. Okay, you give the problem statements to the computer, and the computer can understand what the problem is coming out of, and therefore it can help the mechanic to identify the problem very fast. So this kind of generative AI is going to be a part of our life.
Right.
We teach our people. We have special courses to teach people AI.
Okay.
We have courses to define who is more mentally inclined to learn something like this. And we expect to see a substantial change in the nature of the work. So traditional routine programming will come down. A lot of AI-based programming will happen.
Right.
In effect, we can do at least 30-40% more work with the same people that we have. Or we can do work not only in automotive. See, you can very easily map an automotive to a medical electronics, for example. So if you are looking at medical electronics, large equipments, they also need vision because you would have an X-ray image or a CT image, etc., etc. Understanding those images is like the autonomous driving,
Yes.
you need energy to run the scanner and whatever it is.
Right.
It's nothing other than a powertrain. So whatever is developed for an equipment like an automotive can be used in many other cases. And I think this talent, along with AI, can be used to solve a lot of other problems.
Right.
I believe at some point in time, the medical electronics costs in India should go down.
Should go down.
If you are aware, I mean, the X-ray machines and
Yes.
CT scans and all of them, there are new machines coming up every time, but they cost $1 million.
Absolutely.
Just too expensive. We can bring down the cost of them if we put our talent into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, having said that, IP is one of the important factor in driving innovation.
Yes.
Now, with AI and generative AI, how do you look at, or what challenges do you foresee in terms of drafting AI patents in those categories?
Yeah.
Because the algorithms might be similar
Yes.
with two different companies.
Yes, very interesting question. So, I talked about 10,000 pictures, okay? So, which means that you have to give it data. For the computer to learn, you have to give it data.
Right.
And currently, if you look at OpenAI or Google or whatever it is, they are giving it billions of or trillions of tokens, small pieces. Now the question comes, if some of those tokens come from New York Times or Washington Post or Sakar or wherever, and if they are used to generate some logic, who owns it? That's why now you see the Washington Post and the New York Times, etc., suing the likes of Microsoft, etc., or OpenAI, saying that you are using our data and you are coming out with a solution.
Correct.
So the issue of IP comes in there, whose IP it is. Okay. There is also another IP that comes in. So supposing we were to use an AI tool which comes from outside, whose IP is it? So we developed completely everything on our own. We developed open source. We take open source pieces from outside and we use our own data to come up with our own AI model so that we don't infringe on anybody else's IP. At the same time, our IP does not get frittered away or percolate or, to others. So one has to address this question very, very well.
Okay, great. So my next question is around the teams that you've managed or the team management. Every team, inspires from either the founder or the leader, that they work. From your journey since 90s to date, what change have you seen in yourself in terms of managing a team? What is your perception?
Yeah. So, there is a lot of learning in this.
Yeah.
So, as you know, we started as chartered accountants, right?
Yeah.
So, chartered accountants are, they do their trade or profession on the basis of the knowledge that they have.
Yeah.
Okay. And naturally, you tend to think that you are more knowledgeable than the next guy. Otherwise, why would that other person come to you for advice?
Correct.
So, one is this professional, you can say pride or maybe arrogance. The second thing is innovation. You want to do something new. Look where we were and look where we are. It's all a series of innovations. Innovator sees large number of opportunities around him all the time, and he is like a child in a candy store. Okay, pick this, pick this, pick this. So, and you are interviewing a lot of innovators, and you would find them that and there is just so much to do. Okay, now when you build an organization, these two things have to change.
Right.
Okay, first you have to get people around you who are better than you in many aspects of the work.
True.
I can never be a very good programmer. So I need people who are better than me. So building an organization involves actually getting people together with you who are better than you in at least one department. Now, you have to not only get them, you have to retain them, right? So whatever is your personal passion, vision, etc., it should be infectious enough for others to see it. So it becomes not your dream, it becomes a joint dream of everyone. So how do you build such teams is very important.
Very important.
And we have been extremely fortunate We have people, exceptionally good people working with us for 20, 30, 40 years. Okay. My partner, who is the CEO of the company, Kishore Patil.
Right.
Kishore is a chartered accountant. He joined me as a partner in Kirtan and Pandit, our original firm.
Okay.
And he has grown with the firm, and he's my partner for 40 years. The people with whom we started KPIT, they have been around for 20, 25 years.
Right.
And so retaining this team is actually all about, and now there are 13,000 people in the company.
Right.
So getting all these people together is actually the whole exercise is that they have to find meaning in what you are trying to put across to them. They have to benefit from that. So they have to get the credit for what they are doing. They have to get the cash for what you are generating. All of that is a part of that learning. And I believe that, I hope I have learned that along the way. The second aspect is the whole issue of innovator. And that I think is something that is I need to speak about. Okay. Making a business successful is also about focus. So, and that is something that doesn't come to an innovator very easily.
Right.
Because every problem is interesting, every problem is meaningful, and you have the self-confidence to solve every problem, which means that you might want to work on point one in the morning, and something in the afternoon, something in the evening.
Yeah.
As a result of which you have a whole bunch of half-done things,
right.
and you are not the master of any of them. To us as a company, that realization came a little bit late.
Okay.
And we did that realization 5 years ago when we switched from being a company which was like 1 inch deep and 1 mile wide to a company which was 1 inch wide and 1 mile deep.
Right.
That is the major change that we did.
Okay.
And I think a lot of our achievements are on account of that switch. So that is the second change I think we did in our company. So from where we started to where we are, if I have to summarize what are the couple of things that we changed, it is these two things.
These two things. Yeah. Great. Interesting. So culture also plays an important role in any organization.
Yes.
So it's like an operating system in your terms.
Absolutely.
It's a continuous process. So at any point of time, do you feel disconnected where, you wanted to build your culture in a certain way and something different has happened? Is that what?
No. I think if there is anything which has been constant in the environment which has been changing so much, it is the values and the culture.
Values and the culture.
And these are the values that actually I must say that as a company we inherit from my father.
Okay.
A value of integrity, value of honesty to the customer, a value of being absolutely correct in law in everything that we do, a value of going extra distance with the person for whom you are working, value of hard work. And those things are constant. They are not changed at all. And actually we do a lot to ensure that those values remain.
Right.
So for example, many years ago, we had our set of values called cricket.
Okay.
So cricket, C stands for customer focus, R stands for respect for individual, I stands for integrity. Like that. Now our value statement, and you would see it anywhere, is reimagining mobility for a cleaner, smarter and safer world. And we have defined 7 core things which are the basis for excellence.
Right.
And it talks about these values.
Right.
And we do a lot of effort to propagate them. But you see, the most important thing is whether the leaders live those values.
True.
There is a very famous sentence from a novel by Ayn Rand. I don't know whether it is Fountainhead or the other one.
Right.
I don't remember. But the sentence essentially says that, the hero talks to a person in that, and he says that what you are speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you are saying. Okay. So if you are a leader who are saying something and doing something else, people will read what you are doing rather than what you are saying. And I think every leader, and I'm saying I'm not the only leader in the company, there are thousands of leaders in the company. Every one of us has to live this. Otherwise, we can keep on talking. People will listen, but people will not follow. So that culture is something that we take extremely seriously.
Correct.
We act on that.
Okay.
So if we find cases for example, that our leaders don't respect other people in the company, we coach them. If they don't improve, we let them go.
Okay.
If we find even a single instance of integrity, loss of integrity, we will sack a person.
Okay.
Within an hour's notice.
Okay.
So these are some of the things which are extremely critical. We give significant incentives for the people who go that extra mile for our customer.
Right.
See, because the issue is this, our customers, the automotive OEMs, are going through very rough times. At a time when the technology is changing, their incomes are not very high. And this is the time when they need truly a partner.
Yeah.
So we are not sellers, but we are partners. And for that, you have to go the extra mile. So supposing, the client has come to you with problem A, and as time goes by, he understands that that problem has to be modified. We can't say that, when you started, you said this, now that's what we are going to deliver. We don't care what is the change.
Right.
I have a contract and I'm going to do only by that.
Right.
We can't do that. So going that extra mile, you have to go in that extra mile is very important.
Yeah.
And we value that very much in our company.
Great.
Or the value that we have for our investors.
Right.
So we have, as you know, we started as chartered accountants. We had no money actually to start the company. And we have taken money from people. And they are our investors. Those investors, we couldn't be where we are without those investors. So we owe to the investors many things. We owe to them that we will always work very hard for them, that we will keep their interests very high in our mind, that we'll be very transparent to them. All these are core values. And we speak of them and we live those values.
So in today's era, what is the investor looking at? Does he look at the founder, or what are those parameters that he looks at?
So he is looking at multiple things. He's, of course, he's an investor. And therefore he is investing money for a gain.
Right.
Okay. So clearly he is looking for a gain. But he is looking for a gain which is sustainable. When does it become sustainable? When the management is trustable. See, business keeps on changing, world keeps on changing. The investor wants to know whether the management is going to be working hard for his benefit or not. There are many cases where, the poor investor puts in the money and the company's founders are working for their own.
Correct.
So investor doesn't want that. So investor wants honesty. Investor wants you to work in an area where you are expert. Otherwise, why would you be able to do business?
Right.
So, these are some of the things. He's looking for trust. He's looking for expertise. He's looking for hard work from you. And equally importantly, transparency.
Right.
If something goes wrong, if you hide it, he doesn't like it. But if something goes wrong and things go wrong, your decisions can be wrong in some cases. If you are transparent and you tell the investor, this is the decision I made. This is the reason I made that decision. This is what I changed, and therefore my decision was wrong, and I am correcting it by doing this and this and this.
True.
The investor
makes sense.
Yeah,
absolutely. So you are deeply passionate about social causes. There are several initiatives that you've personally taken up. One initiative that I want to mention here, because this is something that I was talking to your team, and they gave me a lot of feedback. Chote Scientist is one, pioneering initiative where you were personally involved.
Yes.
Or probably you're still involved. Can you share those details?
Sure. So, a conviction in the company is that scientific thought improves societies.
Right.
Okay. So, we have to teach our society to think logically, scientifically, and sensitively. And this is a major part of our work. And so what we are trying to do is, from the school level all the way up to PhD students, we want to promote thinking scientifically.
Okay.
At the school level, we run the program called Chote Scientist. It's a very interesting program. You should come and see some of our work we are doing in that area. So it is teaching science to school kids from the grade 5 to grade 9 through toys and games.
Oh, interesting.
We work with Jnana Prabodhini for this. This year we will be covering 160,000 students across at least 6 states in the country.
Wow.
So we are working in the Northeast, We are working in West, we are working in Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, MP, etc. And simple subjects like light, pressure, temperature, magnetism, electricity, or similar concepts in chemistry, we teach them through toys. Now, a scientific process begins with actually observation. Okay, so we teach how to observe. Supposing you are a small kid and your mother is making tea at home. Can you observe what is the change in the water that is put for boiling? When it boils, how does it look different? How long does it take to boil 1 cup or 2 cups or 3 cups? This is observation. From observations, you come up with some hypothesis, saying that if I keep the gas at this and this level, in 30 seconds, 1 cup will boil, whereas it will take 45 seconds for 2 cups to boil.
Yeah.
Why does it not 60 seconds? Take 60 seconds. So thinking on those lines. So starting with something very small. That is what we do to Chote scientists.
Okay.
At a college level, we run something called KPIT Sparkle.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've heard about it.
KPIT Sparkle is a competition for college students to solve problems that are relevant.
Okay.
So problems in the area of energy or mobility, etc. We give a whole set of problem statements, and the students have to come back with a working prototype.
Okay.
We give prizes of 7.5 to 10 lakhs of rupees for a good solution. We get almost 18 to 20,000 students from across the country participating it in every year. We have been running it for the last 8 years. And some 600 colleges, 22 states across the country, they participate. And so you won't find an engineering or a science student in the country who has not heard of KPIT Sparkle.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
We also do something called KPIT Shodh, which is Shodh.
Okay.
Shodh is research.
Yeah.
So the best PhD thesis in the country in the last 12 months in these two areas, energy, mobility, etc., gets a prize from us.
Okay.
And so there also now we are seeing a lot of traction, from major institutions in the country, etc. We are seeing a lot of students coming. The whole idea behind this is actually to teach people to think logically, rationally. So if you look at our CSR initiatives, we are working on 4 E's. It has to be energy, environment, education, along with employee engagement.
Yeah.
So that is
Very
what
important.
we work on.
Yeah.
That is what we are working on.
Okay.
So we don't want to do our CSR by just cutting a check.
Right.
Our people have to be involved in that.
Right.
I think it becomes very important because when you get into any CSR activity, it not only changes the receiver of your work, it changes the giver of the work too.
Right. Absolutely.
And we want our people to be engaged in it.
Absolutely. So from a learning point or a learning perspective, there must be somebody in your life that you look up to, or probably you must be looking up to. What has that person made influence in your life? Is there anybody in your life in that sense?
Many people, of course. You start with your parents.
Yeah.
You start with your parents. My parents, of course. I mean, I am where I am because of them. You also come across a lot of people in your life. As I said, I talked about S.N. Kirloskar. I worked a lot with Dr. Mashelkar. And, at his age, the kind of mental vibrancy he has, the desire to go out and help people that he has is exceptional. So I learn a lot from him. You learn a lot also from people whom you read.
Right.
So, I like books on science. I like books on nature. So I have people who I tremendously respect, like somebody like a Brian Greene, who talks about cosmology and physics, or Ray Kurzweil, who talks about artificial intelligence and the changes that are happening in that area. These guys are absolutely there.
Yeah.
And one life is not enough to learn enough from them.
True.
And you come across such people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So are you a spiritual person?
That depends on what you call spirituality. So I believe that all of us have a calling.
Right.
I believe that everything in the world is connected.
Right.
So I'm connected to the plant, I'm connected to the dead matter, I'm connected to a human being or a dog or whatever it is, I believe that energy is common to all.
Yeah.
I believe that, and that's what my book talks about.
Yes.
I believe that we owe it to others to help them to grow, because what we have got is a blessing from some source, and it is not a blessing only for us. It is blessing for what we can do for others.
Yeah.
So,
True. So does that make one a great leader?
I think it makes one a better human being.
Okay.
And hopefully a good leader.
Okay. Okay. So, from your entire journey, I mean, starting in your entrepreneur journey in 1990, what was that one turning point in your life when you started your journey as an entrepreneur?
You learn the best when you go through tough times. And there have been many occasions where you get hit in the stomach, you fall down and you get up and start again. And there have been occasions like this from which not only me, but all of us have learned. And I talked to you about the experience that I had at MIT when they sanctioned a loan to me.
Yeah.
The other experience in the US was that I went for a job. I told you that I had to repay my loan. I gave an interview, and that interview lasted for like half an hour, and the company offered me a job. And so the first day I went back there, I went with a bag full of certificates. And they asked me, what are you carrying? I said, certificates. No, I told you this. They said, no, we believe you. Unless I know you lie, I believe you.
Correct.
And therefore, they never looked at my certificate. Now, that's something that makes a deep impact on
Right.
me.
True.
Because, that's a different way of looking at human beings.
Right.
Whereas, in our old times, everything had to be certified. I mean, you need a doctor's certificate to say that you are unemployed.
True.
So those are the kind of things that have made a huge impact on me.
Right. So there was an interview where Amazon CEO Andy Jassy was interviewed a couple of years back, and in the interview he mentioned that he does not look at his stock prices. Okay, what he's more concerned is customer centric and what value he brings to the customer.
Yes.
So in that perspective, now that you are a public limited company, what is your perspective? Do you look at your stocks? How do you react to the market
Two things. One is that right since the formation of the company, when it was a private limited company till today, I have not sold a single stock in my company.
Okay.
So I definitely don't look at the stock from my perspective. But I do look at the stock because there are investors who have put money in it.
True.
And, the stock prices go up and down.
Yeah.
General price swings don't worry me. But if our performance is not good, it definitely worries me, not only me, all my team.
Correct.
So yes, so I don't look at stock and I look at stocks, both these things. So
Interesting. So what do you do when you're not working? Typical weekends. You mentioned about your photography passion, but what is that?
No, I'm a trekker.
Oh, okay.
And just walking in the company of trees, that goes to the spirituality that you talk about. I think I believe that plants emit something more than just oxygen. They emit not only chemicals, but I feel they also emit feelings. So I like walking in the forest. I love nature, as I told you. So that is something that takes a part of my weekend. But I work practically every day.
Right.
And because work is no work to me, work is such fun. It's great fun.
Great fun. Okay, now you are a debutant in the Forbes billionaire list. From your journey, from a 2 BHK apartment, two room apartment, to being a debutant in the billionaires list, Forbes billionaire list. When you started your journey, I'm sure you must have had a vision of taking your company at a different level, at a certain level. Do you think you've achieved your goals, or there is more that you want to do?
There is so much more that
Yeah.
we'll do. You know, when I was at MIT, we had a course in which they asked us an assignment to do. They said that assume you are dead, and assume that somebody who knows you very, very thoroughly, your closest friend, is speaking on that occasion. What would you like him to say? Okay, so you would naturally say that my friend spoke that I was this, I worked on this area, etc.,
Right.
etc. And then they convert that into your life plan. Are you walking on that? Do you want to be? Are you working today on what you want to be at the end of your life?
Okay.
So I went through that, and the thing that I wanted to do was to build a company that would be respected, not just in the country but across. And I think we are walking in that direction. The journey is never over. The journey would not be over when my life is over, because there are so many other people in the company.
Right.
I feel happy that we are moving in the right direction, and I feel restless that we are not further in that journey than where we are today. One thing is that it's not in my nature to be satisfied. That comes from the mothers who ask you about where did you lose that 1 mark.
Yeah.
Just
True.
that finally gets into your blood.
Absolutely. So we are heading towards the last segment. There are several people, typically young entrepreneurs, who will be watching this podcast. What is that one advice that you would like to give those young entrepreneurs or young people who want to start their entrepreneur journey?
So I would say that remember, a business is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Right.
So don't look at what you are getting today. Remember that starting a company is like planting a tree. You know, you plant a seed and you don't see anything happening because the roots are being made.
Right.
Okay, so you will start, you won't see immediate progress. That is because the roots are being made, your name is being established, you are being trained, your metal is being tested. So look long term. Always make sure that you deliver value to your customer, because finally business is about satisfying your customer's needs. And be true to him. To the younger generation, I must say that don't look at making money from your shareholders. Look at making money from your customers. Because now sometimes people want to go for a big issue and you offload your shares, so somebody else on his neck sits that, and then you watch him walk, whatever.
Yeah.
So don't do that, because you can't never build and so no matter what is the speed of change of business, now the success is built long term.
True.
20, 30 years. You must enjoy every day of your work, and you must feel that the best is yet to come, and today is that day where I'm going to get the best or give the best. And you must always like your Monday morning more than your Friday evening. And that is so if you truly love the work that you are doing. And that work can only be based on your passion, your conviction that what you are doing is morally and ethically right, that it's not only for you, but you are doing something which has of a greater value. I think these are important things. And then you will not feel that you are working very hard, whether it is 60 hours or 90 hours. You don't feel that you are working very hard.
True. Well, that comes to the end of our discussion. Thank you for your time. It was great.
Thank you very much.
Speaking with you.
I appreciate
and
this.
And we look forward to more such conversations.
Thank you so much. And I do hope that your audience, your listeners, find some value.
Absolutely.
In the talk you and me had. And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.